item on our agenda is 0359-24, communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Culture Services, submitting bid results for contract 2024075, Washington Museum Restoration. Staff recommendation to receive and file.
Receive and
Mr.
file.
Bosch. Beg pardon? Mr.
Move to
Boucher?
receive and file.
Mr. Boucher is going to speak to the item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, this is the second time we've put this out for bid and have received no bids back on this project, so we are looking to entertain some other options on how to get this project done, but obviously at the present time we need to
Second.
It's been motioned by Alder Mack, second by Alder Perez, to receive and file item 0359-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. The next item is 0354-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Culture Services, submitting bid results for contract 2024087, Mount Cemetery Road paving. Staff recommendation that contract 2024087, Mount Cemetery Road paving be awarded to Payne and Dolan, Inc. in the amount of $163,487.50, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Physical note, funding is available in Ort Objects 45050, 57110, land improvement. Mr. Boucher.
here. Project is basically to resurface all the service roads in Mound Cemetery and approximately the front third of the cemetery.
Alder Perez.
It was only for a third of the cemetery, or 2/3 of the cemetery? Can you explain that again?
It's approximately a third of the service roads in the cemetery that go all around. The front third gets the most usage, and the roads are deteriorating, so they're getting surfaced.
What are you going to resurface them with?
It's going to be asphalt again.
Asphalt
There'll
again?
be some where the major pothole areas are in intersections will be patched, and then a overlayment will just be placed on it. It's not a full tear out and replacement. It's just going to be an overlayment.
So it's not the road the people would use, it's the road the workers use?
Well, the service roads are the actual driving all the, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but it's all interlocked curving roads around all the gravestones and everything,
Yeah.
and that's the area
That's
we
the
are
service-
doing. Yes.
Why is it only a third?
All we could afford in the budget right now.
Okay.
And we picked the areas that we designated most needed it done.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order.
Second.
By Alder Mack, second by Alder Cherry, to approve item 0354-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0355-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Culture Services, submitting bid results for contract 2024-088, Island Park parking lot improvements. Staff recommendation that the contract for Island Park parking lot improvements be awarded to Lalonde Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $296,551.50, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Physical note, funding is available in Ort Objects 45050, 57110, land improvements. Mr. Boucher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project, we are going to rework Island parking lot a little bit for safety issues and parking availability. The entrances will be moved to the south, and the current entrance will be blocked off because the bathrooms in the pavilion are between the entrances between the bathrooms in the pavilion and the playground area, and there's been a lot of children that are running across there. So we're going to move the entrances and add an entrance to the south end so it's easier access. And pave or surface areas.
Thank you. Alder Perez.
This is coming from the land improvements section of the budget. Is that normally where you use that for the parks?
Correct. We have the two areas, land improvement and building improvement. So anything that's not on a building comes out of the land. Paving and those kind of projects come out of the land.
That's specifically for parks?
Pretty much for everything that we're responsible for. Parks, pathways, any other parking lots, anything that we are responsible for.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, motion is in order. Motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Mack to approve item 0355-24. Seeing no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Our next item is 0358-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, submitting bid results for contract 2024-090, Hummel Park Basketball Court Improvements. Staff recommendation that the contract for Hummel Park Basketball Court Improvements be awarded to DK Constructions in the amount of $69,874, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Physical note funding is available in order objects 45150, 57110, land improvement. Mr. Boucher.
Madam Chair, the Humboldt Park basketball court was going to get replaced this year, and the existing one that is on the far south end of the park was damaged. The poles were knocked down last year, so we removed them, and we deemed it a better location to put a new one in where the old tennis courts were removed. That is the location the new court will be placed.
Any questions from committee? Alder Perez.
The $20,000 difference between the estimate that we did to the contract proposal normal?
I would say it's not normal, but everything's been going up. We've had the variances on estimates to actual bids that we get have been all over the place. Some are outrageously high, and some have actually come in lower than we've had estimates. The Island Park one, for instance, was actually under our estimates, so it's kind of, it's a time that can't tell for sure.
So this is a single bidder. Is there, do parks or basketball courts normally have single bidders, or is this just a kind of an unusual proposal that was bid on as opposed to not having anybody bid on it?
For that question, I can't give you a 100% answer because it's all depends on the contractors, whether they deemed it a project they wanted to do or anything like that. So on a normal basis, last year on the Marquette project, I think we had 2 bidders. This one we got 1.
What's the level of deterioration at this basketball court?
The basketball court is no longer usable. The surface is cracked and heaving, and the poles have been taken down because they were vandalized last year, and that's what the existing court that is there is no longer usable.
So what are you going to do with what are you replacing? I don't understand this proposal. What are you going to do, put in a new one?
Yes, this is for a new court, new location. It's going to be up where the old tennis courts were up by the parking lot by the rec center building, instead of all the way down at the south end. So we are moving the location and just building a new court.
Is that easier access for visibility from the street? From where it was before? Because you said it was vandalized, and
Well,
I don't
it
want to
was
put it in a place
vandalized.
where it's not going to be visible and be vandalized again as much.
We also deemed that having the tennis courts were deteriorated and needed to be removed, and to put it there where it's more accessible for the rec area, the playground program would be able to use it, and, you know, et cetera. It's the parking lot.
How popular is this area, the park or wherever this is?
I would have no numbers on that.
Humboldt Park. Oh, it's Humboldt
But
Park. Okay.
Humboldt Park, but I know Tom has had plenty of people inquiring on what is going to happen, so there has been a lot of interest, so this is one of his.
Looking forward to having it there again.
Exactly, that's part of the reason we're accepting the bid that is over what we expect it to be, because it is of high
Part of the
high
community.
interest, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Approve.
Motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Mack to approve item 0358-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0385-24. Communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services to waive formal bidding for Southwest Diamond at Humboldt Park. Staff recommendation that the request of the Department of Park, Recreation, and Cultural Services to waive formal bidding procedures for the Southwest Diamond at Humboldt Park for the city be approved. Physical note, funding to defray the cost of these materials is available in Art Object 45050 57110, Land Improvement. Mr. Boucher.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is one company that does this grading work for the diamonds in this area, and they have done diamonds for us in each of the past 3 years. And we are very satisfied with the work they did and the bid they gave us on doing this diamond. We deem to be a very fair price for getting the work done. Other than that, if questions on it?
Alder Perez.
Where's the price estimate?
I neglected to add the estimate to it. I brought a copy of it. If you guys would like, I could.
Just tell me what it is.
The price estimate for the work we need done is $49,150.
And what does that entail for them to do specifically on their work order?
On this Southwest Diamond has been neglected because has been of minor use in the past, but we're changing some things around on what diamonds are going to be priorities. So they're redoing it. It's a removal of existing, adding 200 tons of the quick pitch infill mix. That's the mix that they use on all the diamonds. A laser grade and compact, new base anchors, pitching rubber, home plate, cutting the outfield edging and installing 9,000 square feet of sod. Our Parks Department will be hauling the actual spoils away, so we're saving some money on that.
Do we know that the 54,000, is that what you said?
49.
49,000 is a fair price for that if we don't have another bidder?
From the work they've done in the past for us, this is a little more extensive, and it's right in line with what they charged us last year. They did 2 diamonds last year at 32 and 30,000, and that was just for a regrade. This is doing all the sod and the extra work around the outside. So with the extra amount of labor and materials involved, we figured this was right in line with their prices from last year.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Second.
Motion by Alder Mack, second by Alder Perez to approve item 0385-24. Seeing no further comments or questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Our next item is 0357-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2024-108, City of Racine Sump Pump Installation Program, Phase 2. Staff recommendation to receive and 5. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We received no bids for the Phase 2 of the sump pump program. So obviously, we're going to recommend that the item be received and filed. We are not going to rebid this project. This project was part of a long-term program. I think I've explained to members of the committee and Common Council before. It's part of our effort to reduce inflow and infiltration exceedance down at wastewater treatment plant. So we have like a four-prong approach to lowering II at the treatment plant, and one of those prongs is installing sump pumps in homes in the city of Racine. What we learned on this last bid, we only received 2 bids from Phase 1. We only had one plan holder for Phase 2, and no one received bids. And I think what we have learned is that the plumbing contractors just do not have the bonding capability to go out and bond for projects of this size to get this many sump pumps installed. Now, we had delivered a plan to the Wastewater Commission October of 2022 that we would be doing this. In an effort to get back on track, we are going to be looking at doing something a little bit different. We met with the city administrator this afternoon. We talked about this, and we are going to try launching this program a little differently, where individual property owners will be able to contact individual plumbers and perhaps work through type of a credit or voucher program. That way the plumbing contractors out there don't have to go through the onerous task to try to get bonding to do projects as big as this. So we're getting kind of back to the drawing board. We're hoping to have a new plan put in place within 2 or 3 months. We did have 100 property owners who are on this Phase 2 bid that we were going to put sump pumps in. They'll be the first 100 we'll make available to this new methodology that we're going to come up with. So we need to find a pathway forward because this is a big part of getting our II reduction to the level that we are ordered to do so by the Racine Wastewater Commission. So I just want to let you know we're receiving filing. We won't be rebidding. We're going to come up with a different strategy. We'll keep the committee and Common Council informed as to how we roll that out in the next 2 or 3 months.
Alder Perez.
So does the strategy require approval, or is that an internal mechanism? I mean, do we approve that, the city council, or is that just done through your department?
It will be done. It's a great question, Alder Perez. It will be done administratively. The funding has been approved by Common Council for this II reduction type of work. This would just be a method that we would set up. We know what the unit prices cost for the sump pumps based on Phase 1, the bid prices. There was unit bid costs in there to install the sump pumps, to put in electrical service if needed, to do the discharge piping. So we know what that price range is. What we're going to be looking at essentially is offering a program where you contact your plumber, you get connected with the city of Racine, we'll get you on, I'm just calling it a voucher program for now, or a credit program, where we'll give you a max amount on that voucher. We'll let the property owners essentially find the best contractor who can do the work. It will be permitted through the building department, and what we'll do is we permit that voucher or credit. It would be a maximum amount, which will behoove the property owner to shop around and get that best quote, because above that we're going to say you have to pay the overage on that. So that way we're going to try to encourage them to shop around and get unit prices from contractors to do the work and stay within that limit. So that's kind of what we have in our mind, how we want to roll this thing out. We certainly don't want to rebid this, because I think we're going to come back to the same exact place we are today with no bids, and we're going to get further behind. So we're going to try this program. Again, I'll keep the Common Council and Public Works Committee informed as to how we do that. And we may learn something that we don't yet know. It may work out very well, and we're going to readjust as we go and try to come up with a new mechanism to do this. So we're not giving up on the program. We're required to do so, because at the end of the day, if we don't lower our exceedance levels down for inflow and infiltration at the treatment plant, the Wastewater Commission has the right to impose moratorium on their sanitary sewer recipients. They are the provider, and we're a recipient, just like Mount Pleasant, Caledonia, North Bay, so they can do that, but we are on a program approved by the Wastewater Commission to do this over a number of years. So I have an obligation to keep this program moving. This is a program that we believe will extend probably 7 years to reach the exceedance level reduction that we are required to do. So this is just another way we're going to try to execute this work, make sure that it gets done.
We're going to be giving, in your proposed plan, money to the homeowners to get this done. Does that incur a different level of liability for us as a city? Because now we have a new partner in this.
No, we'll be working through the details with that over the next few months. Again, work with the city administrator. And in the way we're thinking about that is this would go to the contractor. So, we wouldn't want to give the voucher credit to the property owner. There's no assurance that they're going to pay the contractor. So this would be simply a permit that they would get, through the building department. They get the work done, and we'll pay them up to the maximum amount of the voucher. That way there's no financial interaction between the city and the property owner. So again, these are ideas that we're looking at to roll this out. None of this has been cast in stone, but we think this is the most viable way to do it. Get this program up and running again. Let the property owners go out there, make the arrangements on their own with contractors that are going to give them a price that stays within the amount of the voucher credit.
Alder Jarrett.
Alder
Jarrett.
Thank you. Those are my same questions, so thank you for asking that, Alder Perez. Commissioner Rooney, those 100 property owners who actually signed up for this program, have they been notified? And I know you said this would take a couple of months to iron out the details for phase 2. Have they been notified that, because I'm guessing some of them were thinking that the city will be taking care of all of this. Now the onus is on them to actually do some research on their own. So have those property owners been notified that this is kind of like in flux right now?
So after we met with the city administrator, DPW staff did, and gave us authorization to start looking at this new program. That is the number one priority on our list of to-do things, is to get a hold of these property owners, let them know that we received no bids for the work. So they're not calling us or you saying, where's my sump pump? Letting them know that we're reshaping the program. They will be the first in line to again participate in the program, since they were already actually in the contract documents that we advertised for bidding, to say, hey, here's your list of property owners and their names. These are the folks that you'll be putting sump pumps in. So no, we have not, but we wanted to make sure we were giving authorization from the administration to move forward in this way. That's going to be our next our next and first item, is to contact the property owners, let them know. Mm-hmm.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order. Motion by Alder Mack, second by Alder Jarrett, to receive and file, item 0357-24, Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0353-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2024-058, 2024 city resurfacing. Staff recommendation that the contract be awarded to Lalonde Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $1,633,143.94, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Funding is available in the following ORT objects: sanitary sewer, storm sewer, sidewalk replacement, crosswalk ramps, DPW paving, asphalt paving, for a total amount of $1,633,143.94. Mr. Molitor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As stated, we received bids on April 24th for this resurfacing, 2024 resurfacing contract. We got 3 bids. Lalonde Contractor was the lowest. Payne and Dolan and AWO also submitted bids. Our estimate for this project was $1.9 million. This does qualify for Racine Works program. If the committee agrees, the staff recommends that the contract be awarded to Lalonde Contractors based on the bid results shown.
Thank you, Engineer Molitor. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order. Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Mack, to approve item 0353-24. Seeing no questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Oppose? The motion passes. Our next item is 0356-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2024-107, core building tuck punning. Staff recommendation that the contract for core building tuck punning be awarded to Berglund Construction Company in the base bid amount of $323,000 plus alternate bids 1 through 8 for a total contract amount of $628,000, they being the lowest responsive bidder. Fiscal note, funding is available in ORT objects 45040, 57200, core building tuck punning. Mr. Pritzloff.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we did open bids on Wednesday, April 24th, for contract 2024-107, the core building tuck pointing projects. We received 4 bids: Berglund Construction, Wells Concrete, Masonry Restoration Incorporated, and Innovative Masonry Restoration. This project was estimated at $720,000. That's base bid plus alternative bids, and it is a Racine Works program contract. We recommend that the contract be awarded to Berglund Construction Company at their base bid of $323,000 plus alternates bids 1 through 8 for a total contract amount of $628,000. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Alder Perez.
What does the alternate bid include?
So the alternate bids, the base bid in most of these include some of the worst areas on our core buildings, which is Memorial Hall, the City Hall Annex, City Hall, and the City Safety Building. So the base bid on those is basically one facade where we're actually taking all the mortar out and replacing it in some sections. In some sections, we're replacing a large step crack that has occurred in the wall. We have to drill that out. We have to remortar it. We have to repoint that, if you will. The alternate bids basically consist of additional work that, so the base bid is the gotta-have stuff. The alternate bids are really good-to-have stuff. So in this case, for Memorial Hall, we've got a couple of steam steel man doors that don't really close or are not effective. We have to slam them shut. That's part of alternate bid 1. Alternate bid 2 is the north elevation and west elevation of the City Hall Annex. Alternate bid 3 is, well, that's alternate bids 2 and 3 is the north and west elevation repointing of the City Hall Annex. Alternate bid 4, we have a penthouse on the top of City Hall Annex, which has any number of control things, houses the controls, houses a little workshop. That's alternate bid 4. Alternate bid 5 is a crack repair at the annex that propagates from, it's on the northeast corner of the building, propagates from the bottom all the way to the top. Alternate bid 6 is over at the safety building. We are taking the top 3 feet of the north elevation. There's a couple of different north elevations. It's the main north elevation, and we're going to repoint 100% of it. And alternate bid 7 is once again at the safety building. It's the other 30% of the other north elevation of the building, where we're going to do 100% or 30% repointing, which is re-tuck pointing. And finally, alternate bid 8, once again at the safety building, is repointing and tuck pointing the top 3 remaining elevations of the entire building. So that's 100% repointing. Does that make sense?
A lot of information. But since the highest bid was twice the amount, is there a likelihood of change orders with this kind of contract?
In this case, we did the research. So I had the consultant that did our design work, Industrial Roofing Systems. They actually called Berglund, and they made sure that they understood the spec, they understood their bid, they understood what they were bidding on. So I did not bring this before you without checking on that. As far as that large bid of 1.35 million, honestly, I can't tell you why they bid that, other than to say that sometimes they're taking a shot in the dark, thinking maybe we don't got any bids, and they're just going to throw a number at the wall and hope it sticks. Other than that, I'd have no explanation as to why that number is so big. What I can tell you is that our estimate came in about right in the middle, which is good. Additionally, we have in the budget $1 million to do tuck pointing. $1 million to do this tuck pointing work that is part of this project. So what I would say to the committee is that because we got such good bids, and because for probably the last decade and a half we've had monies, we've tried to have monies into the budget for this type of work. At this point in time, the chickens have come home to roost. We got walls leaking. We've got some things that we have to fix. That said, we've got another roughly $360,000 budget-wise that we can spend. So I would give you folks a heads up that you probably should anticipate a change order for additional work, so we can spend the rest of that $1 million that we have, because it's critical that we use as much as we can, given the good bid prices that we did get on this project. Does that make sense? That has nothing to do with the item that you're approving. I'm just giving you a warning that you're considering. I'm just giving you a warning that it's coming.
What's the estimated time that the repairs would last and make our buildings viable with these kind of changes?
Well, I think the contract, I believe we have a completion date of October 31st.
What I'm asking is, now that we're going to repair it this way, how much longer before we say, oh, we got to move out of this place, it doesn't fit our needs?
Oh, for City Hall and for City Hall Annex and for the Memorial Hall, I don't anticipate that we'd have to say anything like that for quite some time. We can get into safety building if you'd like, but there's already things going down that path. So we're already headed that way. But as far as City Hall goes, and Memorial Hall, two both historic buildings, and the annex, we can keep these things going for quite some time. You know, as long as we can, as long as we have the budget dollars to do the proper maintenance that we need to do, we can keep them going.
Madam Chair, if I may? Yeah, just a follow-up to that. So, yeah, we can get longevity out of the building shells here, out of these 4 facilities. Because remember, it's not just about roofs, keeping the water out. It's about the exteriors of the building, you know, whether it's the curtain walls or the tuck pointing that needs to be done to keep the interior of these structures dry. And to Ron's point, with these good bid prices that we're enjoying on this particular contract, we'd like to try to get as much work as we can get done with the monies that the Common Council has budgeted for this year. So in the 10-year CIP, the Common Council approved $1 million this year for this type of work. In our 10-year CIP, I know that gets approved on a per-year basis, but we had put $1 million in the budget next year, the year after that, and the year after that to get all of the tuck pointing done in these buildings to keep them in a good state of repair. So to Ron's point, we would like to try to get as much work as we can done. That will hopefully reduce the amount that we'll need to put in the CIP in subsequent years if we can get a lot of that work tackled this year at these really good prices. And that's why the Assistant Commissioner said we'd probably like to bring back a change order to get more work done while funding is available at these good prices. So I just wanted to follow up with that.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Approve.
Motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Mack to approve item, 0356-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Next item is 0375-24. Communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, requesting approval for an easement on city-owned property at 101 Barker Street as requested by We Energies. Staff recommendation that the easement request on city-owned property at 101 Barker Street be approved. Further, that the mayor and city clerk and necessary city staff be authorized to execute the easement document as requested by We Energies. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is an easement that is before Public Works and Services to be approved. It's an easement that's actually for the Racine Yacht Club for some electrical work that they need done down there. The Racine Yacht Club sits on city property. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of that or not. They lease the eastern part of that property where the Racine Water Treatment Plant is. They lease it from the city. The easement is required so they can get some electrical upgrades to the yacht club. Racine Water Department staff has reviewed where the proposed electrical work needs to be done by We Energies to service the yacht club. They have no objections to it. This has been forwarded to the city attorney's office. Brian Van Scheinel looked at the easement and made sure that the documents were in order. So we are asking for your approval so these easement documents that can be approved and recorded at the Register of Deeds.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any questions from staff? Committee members? Seeing none, the motion is in order. Motion and second to approve item 375-24. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0382-24, communication sponsored by the Chair on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement on the contract 2021-042 between the City of Racine and AECOM Technical Services, Inc. Staff recommendation that the Public Works and Services approved Amendment Number 2 to the Professional Service Agreement under Contract 2021042 and direct the mayor and the city clerk to sign the agreement between the City of Racine and AECom Technical Services, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $145,265. Physical note, funding to defray the cost of this amendment is available in Ord Objects 4010-52-100, Professional Services Surcharge. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go through the memo in case you hadn't had a chance to review it, but after completion of phases 1 and 2 work on contract 2021042, the City of Racine has received an amendment to continue work for the services identified below to begin Phase 3 of the program. Phase 3 will include II program management, sump pump program management, peak flow reduction quantification, a summary report, and a CMOM update. With the results of Phase 3, a comprehensive plan will be developed to address the entire 5 to 7 year inflow infiltration reduction program. This includes post-improvement flow monitoring and II analysis for the 2 pilot study areas in the sump pump program applied citywide. This will ensure the City of Racine reduces peak hour flow at the Racine Wastewater Treatment Plant as required by the Racine Wastewater Utility Board of Commissioners. This amendment includes several tasks to continue efforts to achieve and maintain relief from any sanitary sewer moratoriums imposed by the Racine Wastewater Commission in accordance with stipulations in the intergovernmental agreement. The services included in the agreement are II program management, $32,265, sump pump program, $28,200, peak flow reduction quantification, $28,800, summary report, $45,500, CMOM update, $10,500. AECom will develop a technical memo to document all the work performed in Phase 3 and in previous phases. The report will document the results of each task, a summary of identified system deficiencies and sources of II, theoretical and measured reduction of quantified II, and a prioritized rehabilitation efforts that is required to be reported annually to the Racine Wastewater Utility Commission at the October meeting. The original agreement was the amount of $222,550, and the First Amendment was $252,400. The total cost of this amendment is $145,265, making the total agreement $620,215. Funding is available in Org Object 40101-52100, Professional Services Surcharge. If the committee agrees, the appropriate action would be to authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the agreement.
Questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order. Motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Jarrett, to approve item 0382-24. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor? Oops.
What did you say? It was Mac.
Oh.
Me. It was Mac.
That seconded?
I thought I heard Perez, but maybe I was wrong.
I did say Perez.
He
Okay.
made the motion.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Mack, motion. Alder Jarrett, second.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. The next item is 0383-24, communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting final payment for contract 2023-030, solid waste garage structural repair, Berglund Construction Company contractors. Staff recommendation that the work completed by Berglund Construction Company contractors on contract 2023-030, solid waste garage structural repair, be accepted and final payment authorized for a total amount of $121,885.75. Final payment to include retainage. Fiscal note, contract 2023-030 was authorized under resolution number 0162-23, dated March 7, 2023. Mr. Pritchloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The work on this contract is complete. The total contract amount is $121,885.75. That includes a change order for $2,885.75 that was approved by this commission at a previous date. Staff on this project does recommend approval.
Alder Jarrett.
Madam Chair, a quick question. This doesn't qualify for the Racing Works program. Is it because of the amount?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sorry for that. They said this is not a Racing Works program project. Is it because the amount didn't reach that threshold?
Yeah, that's correct. At the time this was bid, the threshold was $200,000. So this project originally did not qualify for the Racine Works program.
Any further questions from committee members? Alder Perez.
Yeah, is there another thing coming up with Berglund, or is this the only thing?
We just awarded a bid to Berglund previous to this item.
Because the number of the pages, look on page 30, what's that related to? Because the number is different, and the amount is different.
Yeah, so in this case, they subtracted out when you see the number for previously paid, $116,025. You see that number on page 30 there?
Yeah?
So that's the number.
Number's different on page 27.
Yep. So the number that they're showing there is a number less retainage. So so we paid them roughly $5,000. We retained $5,000. But finance, for some reason, when I actually do the progress or the final and progress payments, they don't have me include any of that retainage. So yes, final payment in actuality will be $5,800 some odd dollars, like it shows. But finance has me do this because they do an internal calculation on the retainage. Why? I'm not sure.
It seems to be deceptive.
Well, there may be an accounting standard that I probably can't speak to, but the retainage is something that happens with every this kind of contract. So
I understand that, but when we're looking at 2,885, 5,860, 119,000 being paid before, the numbers aren't jiving up. So
when you see
granted, we're not accountants, we don't understand that maybe process, like you said, that of the record keeping, but when we're presented with the information like this, it's hard for us to figure out if it's accurate or if it's something we need to look into because the numbers don't seem to match.
So the first payment, you see payment number 1 on page 27 is $119,000, right? Payment number 1. Okay, so what they did was when we paid them after that first payment, the first payment showed $119,000 on that bottom line, right? So what they did was, I'm just adding this up. So 2.5% exactly, all right, of 192,000, all right, or 119,000 times 0.025 is $2,975. $2,975 plus $2,885.75 equals that $5,860.75.
So we are contractually obligated to hold 10% of the first 50% of any contract in retainage. What that does is it ensures that they take care of all their punch list items. They don't walk away without doing A, B, or C that we have on a list. So we hold that back. When the final payment gets approved, then that final payment will include that retainage. So if you're looking at progress payments, which we process monthly, in this case, there was only one progress payment. You'll see that get subtracted out. some contracts we make 4 or 5 progress payments. You know, it may be drawn over a 4 or 5 month period, but we have to retain the first to 10% of the first 50% of the contract. We hold that. It all gets released when this committee and Common Council approves final payment, because we're not bringing it to you for final payment until they've taken care of all those miscellaneous items that we want them to. And sometimes that miscellaneous items include making sure they process their Racine Works program paperwork, not on this particular job, but it might be that for another reason, like they have not yet completed their paperwork. So we hold the retainage to ensure that they do everything they're contractually obligated to do. But I can assure you that the payments being made are complete and accurate. It's just it's kind of odd. I agree the way you see it.
In this case, that retainage would be that $2,700 that we were just talking about.
Any further questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion will be in order. Motion by Alder Mack, second by Alder Jarrett, to approve item 0383-24. Seeing no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Our final item is 0387-24, communication sponsored by the chair on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting the final resolution for the following street assessments. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll go through a quick recap how we conduct this part of the Public Works Services Committee for this particular item. So what we will go through tonight is all the items that were before this committee a few weeks ago at the last public hearing. What we will do is we will go through each improvement line by line. Generally, for street paving, we're giving options of either Portland cement concrete paving or bituminous. So we are going to have information for you, basically showing you the condition of the street. We'll provide, a photograph. You see what it looks like in case you have not had the time to go out there and look at any of these locations yourself. And then we'll go through the percentages in favor or against the proposed improvement, whether it be Portland cement concrete pavement or bituminous concrete pavement. So your option would be to approve one, the other, or neither. If we get to a roadway that you approve one of the two pavement types, and there is also curb and gutter on that particular improvement, then you would need to approve the curb and gutter as well, because curb and gutter is also accessible to the abutting property owner. You can take the percentages for and against, however you wish to consider that information. We'll actually go through not just the percentage here, we'll actually show you the actual property owners who did respond. If we don't have any data in front of you, you can interpret that however you wish. If you think no one spoke in favor or against, maybe they're indifferent. But you need to take that into consideration when making your final determination. After we're done going through all of these items, if you were to approve every item on this particular item 038724, we would approve, we would have a moment, we would have a motion to approve. If for some reason you approve some and delete others, then we would need to approve it as amended. And if you decide not to approve any, and then we would simply receive and file the item. So with that, I'll start going through the very first item. Aram, did you have something to add? Thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to approve one or the other. Thank you for that clarification. That might be the case on the alleys next time around. Yes.
I'm sorry, if you didn't hear me, we would have to, the motion would have to include the amending of this memo to state, what was approved. What I was trying to clarify with John was there's an alternate for each road. So just for example, the first one is Howard Street. There's a alternate for Portland cement concrete, and there's an alternate for bituminous concrete pavement. You can't approve both. We're not going to pave them in both. We're going to approve one or the other or neither. So we would have to amend this memo regardless.
It'll either be approved as amended, or you would delete or receive and file the entire item. So with that, I could get started on this if the chair permits. Yes, you had a question?
Alder Jarrett?
Alder Jarrett?
Yes, Commissioner Rooney, sorry, one
Yeah.
more question. Can you remind me again the PCI, like where do you start with the PCI? What is like the threshold? I think it was like 32. Can you remind me again the PCI when you guys look at the roadways?
Yeah,
You
so
said
the PCI, yes, the PCI, you have this sheet here. Yeah, the PCIs, as again, by ordinance that was passed in November, staff is bringing forward any street that has a PCI below 40 and that has not been heard in the last 2 years and is obviously built out of a non-permanent pavement. That is the criteria in the ordinance that was approved in November of 2023. Does that answer your question? Okay. With that, we'll get started. The first street for consideration will be Howard Street from Westwood Drive to the cul-de-sac. The proposed improvement was Portland cement concrete pavement. PCI was 24. There are 6 properties on the proposed improvement. We had a 0% frontage reported for the project, 11.3% of the frontage opposed. If you look on your screen or if you have it on the attachments there, you can see these are all the various addresses, whether they were in favor or against.
How do you distinguish whether they were by the red marking and green marking?
Correct. So if you look at the screen or you have this in your packet, if we have a red colored cell, that means whether we received an email or received regular snail mail, that person or that property was opposed. If something shows up in green, then we'll say that one was in favor, and then we will tally up everything that we have received from those who wanted to give their opinion whether they were in favor or against. Like I said, in this particular case, 88% of the frontage didn't put anything in favor or against. They didn't contact our offices after the public hearing ended. So
And we assume by that they are in favor? Only had the one email for this one that opposed?
that is correct. So what we would need here would be a motion to either approve or delete Portland cement concrete pavement, and then a second, and then a vote on that.
The BCP or the PCC?
We're taking Portland cement concrete pavement first, yes.
Motion and second to Howard Street, Portland cement paving. All those in,
Really hear you.
oh, sorry. All those in favor? Oppose?
Opposed?
One, so that motion passes. Do we,
I got. What is the difference? Portland cement,
Two,
a 30-second,
yeah, the two big differences, Alder Mack, between the two is, one would be price. Generally, bituminous paving is cheaper than concrete pavement reconstruction. And the big benefit of Portland cement concrete pavement is once it gets built, it can't be assessed back to the property owner. If you were to approve a bituminous pavement, it would get assessed, but when that pavement reaches its useful life someday, 25, 30, 35 years, those folks, whoever lives there, are going to get assessed again. Once it's permanent pavement, Portland cement concrete, there is no more assessments. Unless Common Council someday in the future changes their policy by ordinance.
So in the long run, Portland cement is the way to go.
It's a more durable pavement. It's a rigid pavement, and particularly it'll last longer on local streets. Yeah.
Question, Ms. Jones?
Excuse me.
Alder Mack, just for clarification, just the simplest form is if you're looking at it, asphalt is your blacktop, and then concrete is concrete. I don't know if you were aware of that, or, it's just, asphalt is a non-permanent pavement that, we don't recognize as a permanent pavement. Concrete is. I think that's what you.
Alder Perez.
I'm comfortable with the motion and my vote, so, but just double checking.
Alder Perez.
So it's a procedure that if we approve one, then we automatically deny the other? Do we have to vote on denying the other as well?
The appropriate action would be then for someone to make a motion to delete Howard Street Westwood to the cul-de-sac for bituminous, correct? So if one gets approved, the motion would be to delete the other option.
Are they done at the same time? Like, if we just voted to approve the PCP on Howard Street, right? Mm-hmm. So do we vote that and then come back and say, deny the BCP on Howard Street? Or do you do it in the same motion?
That'd be up to the pleasure of the chair.
Okay, I understand that we can do it in the same motion as long as it's stated. So we would say we would approve Howard Street PCCP and delete Howard Street BCP.
Is that the way we're doing it?
We've already voted on the motion and passed it. Therefore, I think for this
Right
one,
now,
the
yes,
appropriate
for
thing
this
would
one,
be-
we're going to have to delete it separate.
I
But
would
for
make a
the
motion
future
that we do
ones,
Howard Street.
Second.
motion by Alder Mack, second by Alder Jarrett to delete Howard Street BCP.
Point of order. We didn't take a final vote on Howard Street.
I thought we
Voted
did.
no.
You
You
voted,
said two, but you didn't ask if anybody said no.
you said
Voted
no.
no.
So I have two,
But, all
Yes,
right, you're
and-
not voting then?
beg pardon?
My
No, I
mistake, you're
didn't
not
vote.
voting.
As the chair, I don't have to unless we
Okay, I'm
break a
just
tie.
curious. Thank you. You don't have to explain more.
Okay. You need a vote on Howard Street to delete the BCP? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Commissioner Rooney.
Next street, Madam Chair, is Howland Avenue, Rowe Avenue to West 6th Street. There is a photo there for you to take a look at. Insofar as those property owners in favor or against, for Portland cement concrete pavement, the PCI was 36. There are 17 properties. 0% of the property owners contacted us in favor of it. 23.91% of the property owners contacted us to say they were in opposition of the proposed improvement.
Thank you. Alder Jarrett.
May I ask a question for clarification, Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Rooney, can you remind me and again, in case if anyone is logged in that wasn't here the last time, if we delete any of these roadways, what is the next term that they come up for again in front of the committee? Like if we say if delete Howland Avenue PCCP and/or BCP. When will it be again in front of the committee?
Per the ordinance, the Common Council approved in November of 2023. The PCI is never going up, so we know that. So we would be able to bring that forward again. We'd be required per the ordinance to bring it forward in 2 years, so we would be doing this again in the spring of 2026.
Okay, I just wanted you to say it again, mostly because, like you said before, sometimes the cost may go up in the 2 years, and I just wanted everyone to understand that even if we say no to this or delete it, and it comes back up, the roadway might be worse, and also that their prices might be a lot higher than it is today.
That would be a correct assumption. And I just want to have a point of clarification. Staff can't bring it up per the orders for 2 years. If one of the alders wanted to bring this up next spring, they certainly can introduce a preliminary resolution for the committee to consider.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. On Howland Avenue. Alder Mack. There a second? There a second? Dies for the lack of a second. Alder Perez.
Make a motion that we delete Holland Avenue PCCP and delete Holland Avenue BCP.
There a second?
Second.
Motion by Alder Perez, second by Alder Jarrett to delete Howland Avenue PCCP, Howland Avenue BCP. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? We have 2 yeses, 1 no. Commissioner Rooney?
Next street is Monroe Avenue, 20th Street to 19th Street. Proposed improvement, Portland cement concrete pavement. PCI is 22, and there are 15 properties on the proposed improvement. There are 0% of the frontage in favor. We only have received 4.53% of the frontage opposed to the improvement.
Question, Commissioner Rooney? The 4.53, is that just the one person that submitted at the public hearing?
That is correct. That would be 1914 Monroe Street. That is the only property owner that we have received any information on from the date of the public hearing plus 10 days afterwards. That's the only property, and they are opposed to the proposed improvement.
Have one out of what?
15 properties.
Okay, thank you. Motion? Questions from committee members? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Approve Avenue P.
Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Mack, to approve Monroe Avenue PCCP, delete Monroe Avenue BCP. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Oppose?
No.
We have 2 ayes and 1 no. Motion passes. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next is North Wisconsin Street. It's Carlton Drive to the cul-de-sac. The proposed improvement was Portland cement concrete pavement. PCI is 23. There are 5 properties on the proposed improvement. At this time, we have 0% in favor, and we have 100% of the frontage opposed to the improvement.
Alder Mack.
Second.
A motion by Alder Mack, second by Alder Perez, to delete North Wisconsin Street PCCP, North Wisconsin Street BCP. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next is Crabapple Drive, Hickory Way to the cul-de-sac. The proposed improvement is Portland cement concrete pavement. The PCI is 32. There are 12 properties on the proposed improvement. At the close of the public hearing process, we have 0% of the frontage in favor of the proposed improvement, 100% of the frontage opposed to the proposed improvement.
Commissioner Rooney, do you have a photograph that we can see?
Yes, I'm
on
sorry,
the
I might have
screen?
clicked through that a little quick. There is the picture of Crabapple from Hickory Way to the cul-de-sac.
Any questions from committee members? Alder Jarrett.
Chairman Jones, Commissioner Rooney. So this looks like, is it this PCCP right now that is laid down there? And with some of these patches, I know before you said that the Public Works only have so much money to patch some of these roads. What do you use to patch like a road like this? Do you just use the PCP, like just asphalt, to fill up some of these holes? If they have to go out there to patch like that big hole right there.
Yeah, so typically when we have a street, like you see, this is alligator cracking, and what we do here is generally use it's MC, it's medium cure, it's cold asphalt that we essentially put in place and then tamp it down with the tamper, and it's just kind of like a temporary glue, if you will, to try to fill the voids. It's too large of an area. There's another application that you'll see that we use like flowable heated mastic. It almost looks like tar that you'll see. This is an application we could do that. None of those types of activities where we do stuff like that increase pavement condition index. We're throwing a lot of good money and resources after bad to try to even do these type of repairs. They're not very lasting. They generally will come out after a season or two, particularly with snow plowing. As this starts to get bigger and bigger, the next recommended repair would be you'd have to probably bring a milling machine in and start milling areas off and resurfacing, and that would need to be done by a contractor. And when we're getting to that point, that's what we're talking about. This time to actually start thinking about repaving the road, because that's getting to be very, very expensive maintenance. So, this is what you'll see is typical of this type of repair. And as the areas grow, it get more and more difficult to patch these areas and keep them from coming apart like this. So.
One question. We normally don't go against 100% of the people that oppose to it, do we?
Well, that's the thing. None of these, like some of the folks that come to public hearing, I think they kind of think these are like binding referendums. If depending on how many people are opposed or in favor of these improvements, that's the way the committee and the Common Council are going to vote. It is completely up to the legislative body to do what they want to do. I've been here 24 years in public works. I've seen pavements reduced to nearly rubble, and there are still nearly 100% of the abutting property owners opposed to it. At some point in time, the Common Council says enough's enough in the committee, and they do approve these. So, that's the decision you have to take into consideration. That's part of the things you take into consideration when making a decision. So, yeah, you can have 100% opposed and still approve the project. But that is a decision for you to make and pass your recommendation on to the full Common Council.
What is the on this one?
32. And just another comment, just about PCI in general, the pavement rating. So, you know, the pavement rating that we look at, we're looking at certain areas we're revisiting on the street. So you may have a part of the street that looks better than another part, but it's kind of a composite rating of the entire polygon. And we don't inspect every square inch of the pavement from one end of the block to the other. We do revisit, you know, the general same areas every year and measure that deterioration, you know, so that's how you do asset management when it comes to pavement inspections. You're not doing a complete inspection of every square inch of the pavement, so.
Engineer Molitor.
I know what you're looking at here. My staff produces these pictures. They are not the ones that are doing the PCI rating. So my staff would go out and they'll take this picture, that pothole that you see with a PCI rating of 32. This road is, I mean, it's getting there, but it's still kind of a warning shot. This is probably it might be the one and only pothole out there. There might be 2, 3, but that's it. It's probably more indicative of the picture on the right, where you see a lot of, you know, starting to alligator crack and things like that. The pavement's old, granted, but it, you know, other than that pothole, it should last, you know, a few more years anyways. You know, just to clarify what you're looking at there. So the PCI rating is done by AECom. You know, you guys vote on their contract every year. They're the ones that do the actual rating and go out and pick a polygon that they rate from. Even they do not pick the worst spot on the road. Otherwise, every road would come back with a, you know, with a PCI rating of 3. So.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to delete Crabapple Drive PCCP and Crabapple Drive BCP.
Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Mack, to delete Crabapple Drive PCCP, Crabapple Drive BCP. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. Commissioner Rooney.
Next one is Deborah Lane, Delaware to Winthrop. The proposed improvement is Portland cement concrete pavement. PCI is 20. There are 22 properties along the proposed improvement. At this time, we have 8.9% of the frontage in favor of the project and 18.8 opposed.
Questions from committee members? Seeing none, the motion is in order. Oh, Alder Mack.
I was going to make the motion.
Oh, go right ahead. Your second?
And
Second?
oh, I just wanted to see, sorry, I should clarify. I just wanted to see the picture.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry. I
second.
thought
Sorry,
you
Commissioner
seconded
Rooney.
it. Sorry about that.
The chair will second that one. Seeing no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh. All right.
Approve or delete. I back in. On, probably should not have done and below, even below 30, I think it's to the point where we need to do something unless for some reason, like to hear or approving or deleting, but on the council preview, aldermen passionately fight for literally gravel roads and win, and then 2 years later, those roads literally had to be done, and it costs the homeowners a whole lot more money. I'm not in favor of homeowners having to pay out, thousands of dollars for these improvements, but at some point, I guess we all need to bite the bullet. So that's, or again,
Thank you. Any further questions from committee members? And we have a motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Favor of what?
Approving Deborah Lane with PCCP and deleting Deborah Lane BCP.
Seconded it.
I did. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose?
Opposed.
Alder Jarrett, you oppose? So we're 2-2, so that motion is void because it's a tie. Fails. Oh. Yes. Yes, the motion fails on a tie. And so, is there a separate motion? Because this one was to approve it. Is there a motion now that we can delete one, approve the other, or delete them both?
In of conversation as Alderman, where his thought process is, and I think I've done this process once before, and I do take into consideration what homeowners want because it is assessed to them, but also I do look at the streets. And Alderman, there are a couple that's coming up in my district, and I actually driven those roads. So when it comes there, I will, if you would like me to passionately let you know why. So yes, I just, and that's why I'm asking Commissioner Rooney again to always to say it out loud, so in case if people don't know, that if we delete something now, it's going to come back in 2 years, and it might be worse, so that the homeowners know that even if you delete it now, it might cost you more in the future. So it is also letting them know, the people who came and said no at the public hearing or sent us emails or reached out to us personally, that even if we say no to this, in 2 years, you will have to do this process again. So in that spirit, I would like to make a motion to delete Deborah Lane, PCCP, and Deborah Lane, BCP.
Second.
Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Perez. Deborah Lane, PCCP, Deborah Lane, BCP. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The motion passes. Commissioner Rooney.
now and get it over with.
Beg pardon?
I make a motion with.
Which,
For the list.
Something like that. There is one that I would like to have up for discussion.
Alderman Mack, you are proposing to delete all the following streets?
Correct. With the exception of number,
One on, okay, Tremont Drive. The one on Claremont, I believe, Claremont and Biscayne.
Which number is that?
Yeah, Claremont Street. Okay, so number 29 and 30, please.
For 29?
And 30.
Page 49.
Oh, it's very on this.
was on there. I would make a with the exception to the numbers that Alderman Jarrett called out.
Which are 29 and 30? Okay. There is a motion and second to delete items 13 through 33 with the exceptions of 29 and 30. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oppose? The motion passes. We need a motion now for 29 and 30.
Sorry, Commissioner Rooney, do you mind just putting the pictures up, please?
What you were looking for?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to make a motion for Claremont Street PCCP and delete Claremont Street BCP and Claremont Street C and G. And can I speak to my motion, ma'am? May I speak
Need
to
a
my
second?
motion? Oh, sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alder Jarrett.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this. So I did meet two of the people that came in at the last hearing. We had the public hearing. And then when I spoke to them, I was like, I will take into consideration their vote no, because again, it will be assessed to them. However, I do live close by there, like 2 blocks north of there, and I do go along that street when I just go around handing out cards. And I've called about this pothole before, and I don't know if anything was actually done, but that road does have a lot of ruts in it. So although I do appreciate that they came down here and spoke to us about this street, I do think that some work should be done on this street to actually for the future integrity of that street and that neighborhood. So this is why I wanted to pull this aside and approve the Claremont Street PCCP.
You? Any further comments, questions? Yes. Yes. 29 and 30. Oh. We're approving 28 and 30?
29 Admiralty. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, yes, ma'am. But the
Oh,
PCCP
28 and 30.
Yes. Oh no, because it's just the BCC, the PCCP, correct?
Right,
But
that's
it's-
for
it's on here
28,
listed
and
3
the
times?
PCP is 29.
You either need to approve a Portland cement pavement or bituminous. And then, obviously, the curb and gutter would need to be approved with that. So that is the question. Is it Portland cement concrete pavement that's being approved in this motion with curb and gutter, or is it bituminous with curb in this motion?
And the curb and gutter.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, thank you for that clarification. So approve the Claremont Street PCCP and Claremont Street C and G, and delete the Claremont Street BCP.
Is there a second? Motion by Alder Jarrett, second by Alder Mack to approve Claremont Street PCCP, delete Claremont Street BCP, approve Claremont Street C and G. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The motion passes. That concludes our agenda for this afternoon.
Madam Chair, we'll need
Oh, you're right. We need to,
someone will need to make a motion to approve item 0387-24 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
it is motion to approve as amended. Which one was it again?
The last item on the agenda is 0387-24.
0387-24. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, sir. Forgot about that one. This concludes our meeting. Thank you, everyone. We are a little late here today.
All right, David, I'm going, buddy.